My goodness. Hello and welcome to another video, and welcome to what is going to be the 7 Hills of Edinburgh. Starting here on Carlton Hill and working our way around a 30-kilometre loop with a very special guest, Mr. Jonny Davies, who has just ran a reasonably long way, haven't you?
Indeed, 572k the entire London Underground over 11 days.
So this should be pretty routine.
Well, London's flat, this is hills.
7 hills, they're not really that aggressive hills. If you've been around the channel for a while, we're not going to the Pentlands. These are suburban, urban hills, which are much more manageable. But along the way, we're going to give you some tips as to how to improve your running as a heavier runner. We're about to head that way, towards Arthur's Seat, and then we're going to loop round, and you're coming with us. So I think it's time to rock and wait for GPS to load, then roll. Goodbye. We're at the foot of Arthur's Seat, and I thought before we'd head up we'd cover off the first few things to consider if you're looking to improve as a heavier runner. And the first thing for me is to start steady. Don't think I'm going to lace up my shoes, get out the door and burst myself all day, every day, 5 kilometers every day, using sweat as a currency, hard work as a currency. You should in fact be doing the opposite, and that is cautiously building your volume within specific heart rate parameters, the oh so popular discussion point at the moment that is Zone 2, aerobic work. If you're looking for a bit more insight as to how to build your aerobic base, head to the video that's on the screen, look for this thumbnail here. But essentially, establish clear heart rate training zones so that you can work at an easy pace and build up your aerobic volume from there before you start adding in intervals, threshold work, etc, etc. Because you're heavier, there's going to be a higher transient impact, and you want to cautiously build from the ground upwards rather than putting too much impact through your lower limbs too fast too soon, exposing yourself to the risk of injury, stopping yourself from being able to recover, and therefore enjoy the process of building your volume. So start steady, cautiously build your aerobic base, and focus on Zone 2 volume first and foremost.
Biggest thing for me as a heavier runner when I got into it was actually working on my technique. Faster feet, shorter steps, higher cadence. So cadence is steps per minute. When I first started running, I was running about 150 steps per minute, which most people know isn't very good. It means that I was stepping out in front of myself, landing in front of myself, and a lot of force was going through each step, which led to shin splints, ankle problems. I up it now to around 170, 175, which means my feet land beneath me, which means as I run, there's less impact per step, which basically means less forces on each step, which means my feet and ankles thank me for it later.
Let's go up there. Not used to this after your flat tarmac London roads, are you?
102 kilos going uphill takes a lot of energy.
It's not often that I'm with somebody that's heavier than me when we're running a long distance, which is annoying because I've lost all my complaining rights today. And I'm actually normally getting dropped by racing snakes on hills. But today, in theory, I should be the racing snake.
You get to drop me.
Okay, so hill number 2, complete cop out really, because we started at the top of the first one. So we have 5 more to go.
Something like that.
Have you been here before?
Never been here before. Been to Edinburgh before, never been up here before, so.
Every time Londoners have come up and ran with me for YouTube, you get this.
Beautiful.
You get this, so if any YouTubers in London want to come up and run, it's pretty much guaranteed good weather at this point. But does this make you think, you know what, I want a little bit more green space where I live?
100%. London's got a few little parks and whatnot, but nothing like this. You're not above it all. You can't, you know, it's got a bit, but it's not this.
Key caveat being, it's like this 2 days a year.
Yeah, I'm sold. If it's like this.
Sold. Anyway, enough chit chat. Arthur seat complete. Tip tap tip there. Tip tap tip. Just a tippy tap. We'll go with. We're gonna head down back to the road via Salisbury Crags, which are essentially some very nice cliffs. Cut to some sick drone shots in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so next thing to consider if you are a heavier runner that is looking to improve, we're going to talk about practical / kit considerations. Big one for me, first and foremost, is a pair of 2-in-1 shorts, because that will stop delicate areas of your body from chafing and ruining your lovely day out. And if you are perhaps susceptible to bleeding nipples, that's something that is worth avoiding as well. I've heard chamois cream, cycling focused normally, but is much kinder to your clothing than Vaseline, let's say, and is a great way of creating some frictionless areas of your body. If you find with a trail bag you're chafing here, you're chafing under your arm, chafing between your legs, anything like that, if you've got higher body mass, you're more at risk of chafing, and chafing isn't that much fun. So that's the point for me. Johnny?
For me, it's always getting shoes bigger than your shoe size. I'm a size 12/13. Most of the shoes I run are 14, 14.5. Simply because your feet expand when you run. And as a bigger bloke, you can have wider feet as it is. You want to make sure there's enough room in there so your toes can spread and expand as you run. A lot of force going through your feet as a bigger guy. You want to make sure your feet look after. I promise you this, if you have foot problems, you're going to have big problems everywhere else.
Look after your kit and it'll look after you. All right, so we are heading up hill number 3, which is Blackford Hill. Just down there is a pond. I've never seen frozen before in my life, but today is frozen. Temperature's actually pretty manageable, which is great. It's definitely a little chillier than it was at the top of Arthur's Seat because the sun's gone, but we're both feeling good and about to tick off hill number 3.
Climb 3, done.
Okay, from over there, heading over there. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Legs a little bit stiff. Definitely not used to going, what, 400 meters of climbing over 10k. Yeah, not used to that.
To be fair, the steps that got us up here were more step ups than they were just regular steps. I felt like that was some unilateral lower body training there. That wasn't what was on the menu for today. Nonetheless, why don't we just see you at Hill 4? Oh my goodness, that was nearly the end. Oh, bit of a stretch. Number 5. Plenty of elevation. We're quite tight on time now because we've got to get Scott, the video guy that's in and out of the car, down on main level bits, back to the office for 1. And Edinburgh on a Saturday in December is a very busy place to be in the car. So we're just conscious of that, and we've added a whole load of kilometerage distance volume to the total distance already, just by essentially being very silly. And I left my phone in the car for the first section, which meant that we ended up going the long way around to make sure that we didn't miss the car, to collect phone and collect a bit of food and drink, etc. So I played myself, we've paid the price, but volume is looking good for the day. A rock has been collected for the pond.
Oh.
Good.
Sorry.
Good. Number 6, complete Corstorphine Hill. Gonna run it into Edinburgh now and just finish at the castle, just because of traffic and logistics of making YouTube content and other social media platform content whilst going on a run has made today slower than was originally planned. But such is life, such is life. We're gonna finish at the castle, which is as good a place to finish as any, and see you there for the final points from Jonny and I as to how you can improve your running as a heavier runner. Fun fact, I've just had a big hit of nostalgia, as my first ever 100 miler was from Rowladen car park in Loch Lomond to here, Murrayfield Stadium, and that was in November of 2019. And at this point it was a bit of a shuffle to get to the finish line, as basically hit the finish just there, waiting for an event that had been organised for men's mental health as part of Movember, all in there. And I'm kind of running at the end of a fairly sizable run, decent day out, thinking, this all feels very familiar. Christ. Woo. Okay, and job done, just over 25 kilometres complete, just under 1,000 metres of vertical elevation, and we've hit the 7 Hills of Edinburgh. We haven't finished at Carlton Hill as the race normally would, because we're tight on time, as Scott behind the camera has somewhere to be, and we've taken a lot longer than we probably should for the sake of content creation, rather than just going on a run today, which I know will irritate some of you in the comment section. Believe me, it has also irritated me. Nonetheless, before we close things off, final 2 points to consider on how you can improve as a heavier runner. From my end, last thing I really want to focus on is that you shouldn't be comparing yourself to people built differently, different times, your friends, your family, anything like that. It's all a case of working within the leverages and body mass consideration that you as an individual have. It's not something to ignore, it's something to take into account and actually use as a springboard to build from. Work with what you've got rather than working against it. That's a mistake I made when I was younger, and I'm now much better off using body mass, leverage to my advantage, and feel much better for it. So manage your volume selectively, work on your cadence, work on your technique, and really learn to move with yourself rather than against yourself. Final point from you.
For me, guys, is to set specific goals incrementally. Just because you see people out there running 100 miles, 100 Ks, whatever it could be, crazy challenges, doesn't mean that's your goal. Your goal could be to run a 5K, then to a 10K, then to a half marathon, then to a marathon. I was very fortunate when I started running. It was during COVID, there was no events on. So for me, it was just a case of getting better incrementally, little by little, week by week, month by month. And then next thing you know, you find yourself in a position where you're running crazy challenges day after day. And
having a good time.
Exactly.
And wasting a lot of time filming videos along the way. So for that, I'd like you all to like the video and comment down below as a thank you for how much our run has been compromised by filming this for you. We've had a good time, but it was definitely more leisurely than we'd originally planned. And just on that final point, Mark Lewis, fantastic British YouTuber as well. He went from 350, almost 400 pounds body weight to now being an absolute savage. And his initial incremental goal was to run to the lamppost at the end of a street and back. And he started by running there and walking back and built that up over time. And he's now run 100 kilometers plus as a great example of somebody else online you can look up to. We've had good fun, good game.
Fantastic.
Good game. Thank you very much for the game of 7 Hills of Edinburgh.
Well done.
See you next time.